welcome every single one of you for taking a moment out of tonight to jump on and share this time with us to learn more about how to optimize your wellness in the most holistic fashion possible. And not just optimizing your wellness, but specifically in this series, we're speaking about mastering your metabolism and really all of the pieces that it takes to do that. To start us off tonight, we have an incredible testimonial.
Hi, my name is Jenny Marcano, and I'm here to talk to you about SolleFIT GP. I was part of a group of 30 people who were on this trial to see how SolleFIT would work. All of us in the group were taking the 4 drinks and at least using 1 roll-on when we add SolleFIT. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I've been taking Solle for almost 3 years, and it's been an amazing journey. Even though I feel much better about my health and my family's health, I've been struggling with my weight. Yeah, I had tried everything I could with no results. But when I started this program, I started noticing changes from the very beginning, the very first day. I had more energy throughout the day. I used to take a nap, maybe 3-4 p.m. because I couldn't keep going. So now I had this energy throughout the day. I felt more focused. I felt more clarity in my mind. I was more productive. And you know what I feel? That it gives me everything I need when I need it. Because when it was time to rest, man, I had this deep sleep that I didn't have in a long time. But not only that, in those 30 days, I lost 14 pounds and I'm going for more. But the other thing I noticed was that I processed some emotions that they were trapped in my body, trapped in my brain. And now I understand that they were holding me back. Maybe you're asking, what is she talking about? What does it mean? Well, for a long time, I felt stuck. I wasn't able to make a step in my life. I wanted to work on my business. I wanted to help a little more in my family. I wasn't sure. I was doubting myself in every step of my life. And that's why I felt that those emotions were holding me back. I realize that now. So what I'm trying to say here is that SolleFIT with a Solle program is going to help you not only to shed those unwanted pounds, it's going to help you to shed those unwanted emotions that are holding you back from anything that you want to do in your life. And even it's going to be those that are holding you back to lose weight. So I'm so happy to share this experience with you. I'm amazed. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that Solle Naturals decided to add these amazing products to any Solle program. I can't wait to see your testimonies too.
Wow. I love testimonial because it really goes to the heart of a lot of times what is going on. Like the reason why we might be holding on to some excess weight, right? Is because ultimately our body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, right? It's protecting us. And when we have those stuck emotions, stuck traumas, stuck toxins, stuck anything, right? We have to release them, right? We have to release them in order to release the weight. And I love her testimonial for that because it really is an example to that. 14 pounds in 30 days. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. But the life that she has gained because of that is even better. So thank you so much for sharing with us. So tonight we're going to go ahead and jump right in starting off our secrets of metabolic mastery with setting our goals straight, right? And the secret to setting wellness goals that you will actually achieve, right? And so oftentimes, sometimes we set out on a program and we're like, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, right? And we get, a couple of weeks into it and something happens that either we lose our motivation or we lose interest, or, whatever it is, that we just don't keep going towards the goal. And there's a very, very, very specific reason for that. And we're going to go over that tonight. I want to go over this because you know that any program that we talk about always focuses on the 4 pillars of optimal wellness. And so those 4 pillars are, of course, balancing cellular fuel delivery. And then pillar number 2 is lifting metabolic and immune function. And pillar number 3 is to clarify toxic buildup and to stabilize endocrine function. So this includes all of your hormones and all of your glandular system. And then pillar 4 is to calm daily stress and restore nutritional energy. So everything that we talk about is always encompassed in all 4 of these pillars of optimal wellness so that we can address your health and wellness challenges in the most holistic way. All right, so let's get started here. So let's talk about your metabolic mastery prescription, right? And I want to first start about your metabolic mastery prescription is unique to you. It's personalized, right? This is not a diet, right? Metabolic mastery is a skill. It's really a set of skills that allows you to make the best choices to serve you in the most, in the most ideal way on your journey to optimal wellness, right? Metabolic mastery comprises the daily actions and the habits that allow you to be the best version of yourself physically, the best version of yourself mentally, and the best version of yourself emotionally. Because you and I, we can agree, if you're here on this class or if you're listening to this recording later, you and I can probably agree that there isn't a magic bullet that works for every single person across the board, right? Because metabolic mastery, your prescription for optimal wellness, is individualized. And every single one of us is different. As a matter of fact, we're all different at all different times, right? And so it's important for us to understand the skill sets of what it takes to make the best choices on a daily basis to benefit our overall health. So when we're talking about making these choices, this is really coming down to our habits, right? Our daily habits. Now, to make positive shifts in your daily habits, first you need to understand that there are 3 parts to all habits, right? So every habitual action that we take, there are 3 parts to it. Part number 1 is the cue. Now, the cue is like the trigger, right? And this kicks the brain into an automatic response mode and tells it which habit program to run, right? And then part 2 of a habit is the routine, right? And so this is the action that we take. It's the physical, mental, or emotional response that happens next. And then part 3 of the habit is the reward, or what is the benefit to you, right? This is the prize, telling your brain that this particular habit loop is worth remembering in the future. Now, the researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have identified this as a cycle, right? And so what we think about as a habit is actually the middle part, right? It's the routine or the action, right? So like putting sugar in your coffee in the morning, like that's just a habit. Like you just get the sugar and put it in your coffee, right? Or for me, I put oat milk creamer in my cinnamon every single morning. It's just a habit. I'm actually drinking cinnamate right now, but I don't have oatmeal creamer in here. So apparently I don't need it necessarily. It's a habit. I just put it in every single morning. And so eating ice cream, right? Before bedtime, right? Or at 10 o'clock, or getting up in the middle of the night and eating. Like, these are just habits that we do. They're just routines that we run. Now, the cue or trigger can be physical, right? So it could be like low blood sugar or feeling hungry, or it could be emotional. Maybe it's a frustration or boredom, or maybe you're just simply seeking pleasure. The reward generally alleviates the problem that is queued up in the first place, right? So if hunger is the cue, then that could cause you to eat ice cream at 10 o'clock each night, right? Which is the action. And then that action leads to feeling full, which is the reward, right? So it's possible to just change the action, right? And choose something healthier to satisfy the hunger. So like at night, if you're hungry, you could choose a better thing, and then you would still get a reward, right? So you could just change the action, right? Or like hunger is a cue that could be alleviated by healthier action. Or if we really want to make a shift, we want to look at the cue to begin with, right? Like, we want to see, like, what is causing me to trigger into this habit? So here's the secret to this, though. Only you can identify the habit loops that you've created, right? And this is why you'll often hear throughout this series and throughout all of our classes where we talk about self-awareness and listening to your body and paying attention to what's going on. It's really up to you to become self-aware and to be able to identify those habit loops, right? Because the more aware you are of your cues and the more aware you are of, the triggers and the actions that you take, and then what you're seeking as the reward, the easier it will be for you to shift your habits on the daily. And here's the secret. We can give you all of the, supplements in the world, and we can teach you all about, nutrition, and we can teach you all about getting the sleep, and we can teach you all of that. But if you don't implement it into your daily life through habit change, the transformation that you seek will be difficult to obtain, right? So this is not about replacing the ice cream at 10 o'clock at night with a bag of carrots, right? You can do that, right? And that's oftentimes when we go on a diet, that's what we're doing. We are going out there and we're like, okay, let's just swap all these bad foods for good foods, right? Or let's just take all these, carbs out of our diet, or let's just take this out of our diet, right? Like, we're just trying to swap it. And maybe for like a week, that works or whatever, but it usually won't last, right? And the reason is because the perceived reward isn't the same, right? Like, it's almost like, eating carrots at 10 o'clock at night just makes us kind of sad. Like, we're like, no, I really would like the ice cream, right? So the reward's not the same. So what's important is that we have the self-awareness to understand what's driving the habit in the first place. Like, why are we getting hungry at 10 o'clock at night anyways, right? Like, maybe it's because our dinner that we had, maybe it wasn't enough, or maybe it was too high in sugar. So it caused a blood sugar spike and then caused it to crash back down so that we were hungry again before it was bedtime. Or maybe we're actually tired and our body is not getting enough oxygen to the brain now, and it's telling us, hey, go eat or something because I need more nourishment. And really what we need is just to go to sleep, right? So there could be a lot of reasons for those cues causing us to go into those habitual habits, but we need to look at the self-awareness about what's going on. And so sometimes is it simple as changing the habit, but oftentimes it's about looking at the cue, the trigger, about what's getting there in the first place. So I want to talk about rethinking our goals, right? And there's a right way and a wrong way to set your goals, right? And the first step in creating healthy habits that last for life is really to rethink how you set your goals. And honestly, in my entire career that I've been working with people, I can't think of in any industry, whether it was health or whether it was business, I can't think of a single instance where I had somebody who was having a hard time meeting a goal that they had set for themselves who had set it properly, right? So generally speaking, the reason why we have a hard time achieving the goal is because we didn't set the goal correctly in the first place. So there are 3 progressive parts to setting a goal. Number 1 is to identify the desired feeling. Number 2 is to outline the daily actionable steps. And number 3 is to name the desired outcome. Now, I will tell you, these are taught in the context of good business principles all the time, but they're often not translated into health or into relational habits or anything like that. So I want you to look at all 3 steps, because usually this is what happens. Usually I have somebody that comes to me and I'm like, what is your goal? And they'll tell me, oh, I'd like more energy, right? So when you look at these 3 pieces, the more energy is the naming of the desired outcome. That's actually the end step in setting goals. So we want to start with identifying the desired feeling and outlining the daily actionable steps. So this is usually where people miss, right? They miss thinking through parts 1 and 2, and they incorrectly identify the desired outcome as the goal. And here's the thing that happens. They fail miserably at trying to achieve it because that's just an outcome, right? And what happens is even worse, the stress, the negative self-talk, everything else that happens when you're not able to achieve the goal, that all contributes to a downward spiral of self-sabotage and extra resistance. And it just increases your stress and it makes everything in life a lot harder, right? So identifying step 1, identify the desired feeling. This is what you truly desire, right? This is the foundation of every single action you take in life. Ultimately, even self-sabotage, right? Or even like resisting is a form of taking action on what you desire, right? So like when you're having like negative self-talk and you're like, oh, I'll never be able to do this or whatever, that's actually taking action on what you desire. It's your subconscious desire to fail, right? Now, so to set a foundation, the very first step is determining what it is that you actually desire. Now, remember, this is identifying a desired feeling, right? And so if you want to lose 10 pounds, that's not what you actually desire. That is the outcome. And that outcome is what you want in order to get you the feeling, right? So you have to identify what the feeling really, really is. So there are 4 reasons that you're not meeting your wellness goals. And I'm going to go over them really quickly. So mistake number 1 is confusing the outcome for the goal. This is what we were just talking about. Most of us, we think that our goal, like the outcome of losing 10 pounds, getting more energy, having clearer skin, right? Getting better sleep, having better sex. These are all outcomes that, yes, we think they're goals, but they're actually not, right? So when we look at the right way to set goals, the goals are not the outcome. The outcome is what we're going to get as a result of achieving the actual goals that we look at. So let's start with goals. Like, let's think about losing 10 pounds, right? Or fitting into your skinny jeans or feeling confident in your clothes. None of those are actually goals, right? Losing 10 pounds and fitting into your skinny jeans, those are both outcomes, right? Those are the benefits that you will receive from achieving the daily goals. Feeling confident in your clothes is actually a desire because that's a feeling, right? Like you want to feel confident, right? So that's actually a desire. right? The goals are actually the daily actionable habits in between that get you from here to there, right? So if this was your outcome that you were looking for, losing 10 pounds, what are the goals that you would want to do daily, that you would want to achieve daily that would get you there? Maybe it's doing 10,000 steps a day, or maybe it's sticking to a reasonable meal plan, or whatever it is. We're going to actually go over that here in just a minute. So number 2, reason why you're not meeting your wellness goals. You're misunderstanding the feeling you desire, right? Now, desire is the unseen fire that fuels your daily habits. If you lack motivation to stick to your goals, there is a disconnect between what you desire and the actions that you set for yourself. If your desired outcome is to lose 20 pounds, but you're not even the least bit interested in putting better food in your mouth, right? Or taking your supplements or drinking water, it's because you know deep down that losing 20 pounds isn't going to change you as a person, right? And so this is really, really important, because as we begin our journeys to metabolic mastery, or as we begin our health habit change, whatever it is, right? We need to figure out what it is that we really desire, because that's our motivating factor, right? That's the thing that's going to get us to not have the ice cream when we want to trade that immediate joy for the long-term desire that we have, right? So the desire, you don't have a desire like to be thinner, right? There's not enough fuel in that statement to motivate you to make it happen. The desire is always a feeling that you wish to achieve. Now, this can be a lot of different ones, but I'm just going to give you a couple of my favorite examples. Maybe you have a desire to feel abundant. Maybe you have a desire to feel adventurous or alive or balanced or accomplished or confident or delighted. Some other ones are energized. Maybe you want to feel generous. Maybe you want to feel healthy or joyous, right? All of these are feelings that could be a desire. Now, there's a whole list of feelings out there, and you can simply Google like list of feelings and kind of just and look at them if you want, or just sit with yourself for a moment and give those feelings names. What is it that you really, really and truly desire? Now, in a few moments, we're going to go over exactly how to get down to this. Now, I want you to know that there is no feeling that's better or worse than another, nor when you go and like look at lists of feelings, there's not like a comprehensive list really, right? Or there's not like any particular feeling that would be more motivating to another. Again, just like everything else, this is an individualized prescription. You want to just choose 2, 3, or 4, of these feelings and describe how you desire to feel. And then let those feelings, those desires fuel your habit change and your movement forward, right? So here's the next thing. You want to make sure that the goal is yours. So this is reason number 3. The goal isn't yours in the first place. And we all do this. Like we've done this countless times in our life, right? This is probably way more common than it ought to be. Oftentimes we, and I will say especially women, we will oftentimes chase a goal based on someone else's desire, which means it never fully feels like it's ours, right? And here's what happens. Resentment will quietly build up inside us, and we won't even be aware of it, right? And eventually we'll just be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And we call this self-sabotage. It's not self-sabotage, right? It's just because that goal wasn't ours. We didn't even want that thing, right? And so, and sometimes we'll do this in relationships. Like if we have a partner that, loves going to the gym, and maybe they like to bodybuild, and, at the time, and you might be like, oh, I love to go to the gym and bodybuild too, right? And maybe you don't really, right? And you're out there, you're like hustling, you're doing all that, you're, burning yourself out. And it's not even your goal in the first place, right? And so that's another one. And then number 4 is you forget to paint the picture of everyday life. Now, this is huge because this gets us every time. Even if you avoid the first 3 mistakes, not painting your actionable goal into your everyday life can derail your results, right? And so sometimes we hear about goal setting and we talk about SMART goals, like we talk about specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound. And I will tell you, SMART goals, they're a great start. But I am a true believer in that you have to visualize how your daily actions reasonably fit into your current life situation in order to be successful, right? For instance, if you're a nurse who works 12-hour shifts, then making a beautiful fresh kale with, veggies and, all freshly cut up, like salad for lunch every single day might not be like perfectly viable for you, right? If you don't have time to go to the store, or if you can't get up early enough, those things, might not happen, right? So in this case, it might be a goal for you to pre-make 4 days worth of, some kind of meal that you'll have and put it in the refrigerator so that it would be ready for you, right? Now we're going to look at some exact examples of that in just a minute, but that's really, really important that you paint the picture for everyday life of how you're going to accomplish these steps. So a step-by-step process to setting strong wellness goals. Now, before I get to that, before we get to your strong wellness goals, I want to talk about one goal that you want to avoid, because your goals are your own, and I don't want to place any of my goals onto you. However, there is one goal that you should never have, regardless of how tempting it is. I know, because I am a constant victim of this one. And that's the goal of perfection, right? Because perfection simply doesn't exist in the long term, right? So including it in your goal is a surefire way to set yourself up for failure every single time, right? So here's the secret. Consistency beats perfection every single time. Consistency beats perfection every single time. The dictionary definition of consistent is acting or done in the same way over time, especially so as to be fair or accurate. If you wake up every single day and you go through your list of action steps, those action goals that you're going to be creating every single day, doing it consistently, even if you don't get it perfect every time, that will beat you trying to be a perfectionist. So as you embark on your next health and wellness adventure, or the next habit change that you're deciding for yourself, I want you to remember to just stay consistent, and consistency beats perfection. So let's go through the step-by-step process of setting these strong wellness goals. Okay, so how do we do this? Okay, so step number 1 is to list the top 3 or 4 reasons that you want to be healthy or make this change, right? And the first things that you're going to list are really, really high level, generally speaking. So they're going to be these are going to be like really, really big things, like what you want to lose 10 pounds. What's the reason, right, for that? And it might be that, you want to fit into the skinny jeans, right? Well, that's still really, really big. So like we want to keep going down, right? And so you want to keep listing reasons that you want to be healthy or make this change. Question number 2, why do you want this? Now, I want you to think about a time in your life when you felt great. I want you to think about a time in your life when you had the ideal health that you're thinking of. And what words would you use to describe that feeling? And, I want you to keep going through that. And if you've never had this health in your life, imagine what it would be like. And then what words would you describe for the feeling of having that, right? Question number 3, how would achieving this desired outcome make you feel, right? And so this is a little bit differently. or in question 2, it's why do you want this? But number 3 is how would achieving the desire or outcome make you feel, right? And so if you did lose the 10 pounds, or if you did have better skin, or if you did have more energy, how would that make you feel, right? Like maybe it would make you feel confident. Maybe you would feel accomplished. Maybe you would feel like you achieved something, right? Or whatever it is. So that's the difference in question number 3, right? Number 4 is what outcome would support this feeling, right? And so number 5 are what are the daily actionable steps that will support you in achieving that outcome? And this is your goals. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of how all this works, because I know that for some of us, this is kind of new. Like we're like, wait, I thought losing the 10 pounds was the goal. And now she says it's not. I know, it's okay. I'm going to walk you through it right now. Okay, here's an example. Let's say that you came to me and you were like, Erica, my goal is more energy. Okay, and so thinking about the questions that we just had, maybe I sat down with you and asked you these same questions. And we went through the 5 questions and you said, I want to have more energy in the morning while I'm with my kids before school. And I say, why do you want this? And then you would say, well, we all have more fun when I have more energy, and I enjoy my mornings more when we have more fun. So number 3 is, how would it make you feel? This would make me feel more productive. This would make me feel more connected to my kids and joyful in life. And number 4, what outcome? An outcome that would support this is getting 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep at night. And then the daily steps, question number 5, are how do I get that 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep at night? What would be the steps to get there? And you can work with your mentor if you don't know where to start on this, but maybe it's having a low glycemic dinner, right? So that we're not having a lot of sugar that's, spiking our blood sugar and interrupting our sleep. No sugar after 6 p.m. Maybe it's to drink my Renew at 8 p.m. and create a nighttime routine that quiets my mind and gets me ready to fall asleep more easily, right? So now when we're setting our goals, this is what our new goals look like. Eat a delicious low glycemic dinner with protein and veggies. Eat enough for dinner so I do not feel hungry and want to snack at night. Write out a dinner meal plan and shop in advance so I'm not caught off guard during the week. And then the other goal is every night, drink my Renew at 8 p.m. and then take my Vertizymes and brush my teeth at 8:30 p.m. so I'm ready for bed by 9:30 p.m. Right? So this is our new goals. This is what our new goals would look like. So when we're answering the questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about the outcome that we're looking for, more energy, this is actually our goals, right? So this is the goals that we're going to, write down. We're going to put them on our refrigerator, on the bathroom mirror, and everywhere else. And we're going to remember, these are the steps that we are taking. We want to accomplish these goals every single day because this is how we're going to get what we really desire. So let's look at another example. So that was more energy. Let's look at losing 10 pounds, right? So if you come to me and you're like, I want to lose 10 pounds, and I'm going to say, that's a great outcome. Let's set some goals, right? And so question number 1, I want to lose weight. Why? Because my clothes will fit better and I will feel more confident in them. The next one is that would make me feel confident, attractive, and would give me a sense of accomplishment for meeting my outcome. And then last time I weighed my goal weight, I felt energetic and confident, and I would like that back. Number 4, an outcome that would support this is to lose 10 to 15 pounds to help me fit into my clothes, right? And then the daily steps, stop negative self-talk, move every day, stop eating out, and eat more veggies. Those daily steps are really loaded. I did it on purpose because if you listen to these whys on why I want to lose 10 pounds, there's a lot of negative self-talk in there, right? So stop negative self-talk is a really good, a good one for anybody that wants to lose weight. And so what are the new goals, right? Maybe it's meal prep, 5 delicious low glycemic breakfasts so I can grab and go during the week instead of going through a drive-through. Another goal might be to take my SolleFIT GP every morning at 10 a.m. and drink my 4 drinks throughout the day. Maybe another goal is stop eating after 7 p.m. and stick to my 12-hour eating window. Or maybe it's to log at least 10,000 steps per day. Or maybe it's to spend 15 minutes each morning writing down what I'm grateful for and reading something positive, right? So these are just examples. Now remember, your goals are your own. And it's important for you to create them, and you can use your mentor as a guide, but it's important for you to create them, because if you don't create them, then you won't stick to them, right? Because I could easily hand you a meal plan and be like, hey, eat these things this week. But the reality is, there's a reason why people are not successful losing weight. There's a reason why people go on 4, 5, 6 diets a year and only stay on them 2 weeks before they go off. It's because they don't know how to master habit change, because they don't understand exactly what we're talking about today. They don't understand that there's a desire that they have, and they just need to create the goals that will help them to get there. So let's look at another example. It's a little bit different. Maybe you want clear skin, right? And so you come and you say, I want my skin to break out less and I want to heal more quickly when it does, right? And we say, why? I could wear less makeup and save money on skincare products. This would make me feel more confident when I meet people at work, and I would be less worried about my appearance. Number 4, an outcome that would support this is having a breakout-free month. And number 5, those daily steps would be, I'm thinking of drink my Vital daily, take Vertizymes and ProBioIQ each night to support digestive balance, drink more water to help hydrate my skin, increase my fiber intake, right? So what would my new goals look like if these were my outcomes and desires? Every morning, I would want to drink my water with lemon juice when I wake up, drink my Vital with a squeeze of lemon at 10 a.m. Every night, drink my Renew at 8, and then take my Vertizymes ProBioIQ and brush my teeth at 8:30, so I'm ready for bed by 9:30. And then track how my skin behaves to see if there are any patterns with my cycle that I can prepare for each month. So these are some examples of new goals that you could set in order to reach your desires. Now, I want you to notice the difference in each of these examples in the desired feelings, outcomes, and daily actionable goals versus the just having clear skin, right? Once you identify, and the reason why it's important, I want you to go through all 5 questions, is because this identifies your desire and will be the fuel for your fire, right? So that when you wake up and you're like, I just don't want to drink this Vital at 10 a.m., you can go back to your desires and those feelings where you're like, but I know that drinking this Vital is going to help me to feel more confident and to be less worried about my appearance in the long term. So I'm going to drink this Vital, even though I don't want to. I'm going to drink it, right? So that's the reason why we want to keep these 5 questions, and we want to keep this in front of us, because this is our motivation. This is our fuel for the fire, and the goals are our daily action steps that we create for our metabolic mastery prescription. Now, I want to address one thing. We are cyclical by nature, right? As humans, we're cyclical by nature, which means like we kind of operate in cycles. So it's important to reevaluate your goals often. I typically would recommend reevaluating your goals about once a month, maybe once every quarter, every 90 days. But you want to look at it pretty frequently, because you might notice that your goals are going to change over time, right? And so every now and again, reevaluate and reconnect with the purpose of your goals, right? Look at, are these motivations, is this desire still mine, right? Is this still valid, right? Are these still helping me move to my desired outcome? So now that we know how to set goals, and remember, you'll have this recording to go through again. We're also going to provide you the worksheet with the questions on it. Now that we know how to set the goals, there's one more simple yet powerful thing you need to do. And that's to believe. You must believe that it's possible. You got to believe that whatever health journey or outcome that you're trying to get, that it's possible to have it, right? Because your beliefs shape your thinking. Your daily thoughts influence your daily actions. Your daily thoughts influence your everything, right? Your beliefs or your lack of belief is the biggest barrier to achieving what you want. And this is what you want, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's relationships, whether it's whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. Your beliefs or lack of is the biggest barrier to achieving what you want, right? Because if you don't believe it's possible, like if you don't believe you can achieve that thing, it will never happen. So I want you to take a moment right now. I want you to sit up. I want you to roll your shoulders back and relax. Relax your shoulders, relax your back. I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to believe that you can create the habit of health and that you can achieve your optimal wellness, whatever that is. Albert Einstein said that the world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. So having the belief that you can change your life for the better, even if other things have failed before. Maybe you tried other things and it didn't work. Having the belief that you can do it and that it is achievable is the most critical first step in creating the desired outcomes that you just identified, whatever they are. I want you to know that I believe in you. I know that you have it in you to create positive change. I know that this process works. And so I'm just asking you to take a moment to believe in yourself and to go through the steps. And so with that, I want to thank everybody so much for coming and joining tonight. Thank you so much. Have an incredible rest of your night and have a great week. I can't wait to see you next week.